The hands that once labored with strength begin to tremble. The feet that once walked miles now grow weary with short steps. But though age weakens the flesh, it does not have to weaken the spirit. If the body bends, let the mind stand firm. If the limbs slow, let the thoughts move swiftly. The true battles of old age are not fought with muscle or might. They are fought in the depths of the mind. There is an undeniable truth that time impresses upon us all. Our bodies are not what they once were. The hands that once gripped with firm strength now tremble with age. The legs that once carried us tirelessly now demand rest after a short walk. The back that once bore the burdens of labor now protests under the weight of even the simplest tasks. These changes, though inevitable, need not bring despair, for while the body weakens, the mind, if trained and disciplined, can grow stronger, sharper, and more resilient. The true measure of a person in old age is not in physical might, but in mental fortitude. Too many allow the failing body to dictate the state of their spirit. They see their weakening frame and assume they must surrender to helplessness. They speak often of what they cannot do, of the strength they no longer have, and they mourn for a past that will never return. But this is the voice of defeat, not wisdom. The wise do not dwell on what is lost. They cultivate what remains. If the hands tremble, let the mind be steady. If the body slows, let the spirit quicken. For those who master their thoughts will find strength even when their limbs grow weary. Endurance in youth was a test of muscle and might, but in old age endurance is a test of the will. A mind trained to withstand hardship will not crumble when the body falters. Pain may come, limitations may increase, but the soul remains undefeated when one refuses to bow before discouragement. The body may restrict movement, but it cannot imprison a mind that has been taught to overcome. There are those whose legs may fail them, yet their thoughts soar with greater strength than ever before. There are those who can no longer lift heavy burdens, yet they carry wisdom that outweighs gold. Consider the great minds of history. Many of them grew frail in body, yet remained giants in intellect and wisdom. They did not lament what they had lost. They nurtured what they still possessed. They understood that while time may strip away youth, it does not have the power to rob a person of their will unless they surrender it willingly. So it must be with you. Train yourself daily to resist the temptations of despair. Do not focus on what you lack. Focus on what remains within your power. Strengthen your mind as the body weakens, and you will find that even in aging you are not defeated. This training of the mind is not done in a single day, nor is it achieved through mere desire. It requires daily discipline. Just as a young athlete trains his body for competition, so must the aging man or woman train the mind for endurance. Feed it with thoughts that uplift, not those that tear down. Guard it against bitterness, for bitterness saps strength faster than any illness. Fill it with wisdom, patience, and peace, for these will sustain you when the body cannot. Let not the failing of the flesh dictate the state of your spirit, for a strong mind will always outlive a weak body. There was a time when trouble arrived like a thief in the night, catching you off guard, shaking your foundation and leaving you bewildered. In youth, every hardship felt like an unexpected storm, every betrayal like a dagger to the heart, every failure like an unbearable weight. But as the years have passed, you have seen enough of life to know that hardship is no stranger. It no longer arrives as a sudden invader, but as an old acquaintance, familiar, expected, and predictable. Life has tested you many times, and by now no storm should catch you unprepared. The young may still be shaken by the winds of difficulty, for they have not yet learned that suffering is woven into the very fabric of existence. But you have walked through the fire before, and the flames did not consume you. You have faced loss, disappointment, and heartbreak, and yet you are still here. Do you not see? Hardships that once would have broken you now barely move you. A mind that has been trained through trial does not tremble when trouble knocks at the door. It simply opens it and says, "I have met you before, and I am not afraid. There is a strength that comes only from experience, a resilience that is built not in comfort but in struggle. In youth one panics at the sight of the first dark cloud, believing that ruin is near, but with age you learn that storms pass, wounds heal, and no suffering lasts forever. You no longer waste energy asking, "Why me?" For you have come to understand that hardship does not choose favorites. It comes for the rich and poor, the wise and the foolish, the young and the old alike. The difference is in how one responds to it. The trained mind meets trouble without fear because it has already endured much and survived. It does not fall into despair when difficulties arise, for it knows that every hardship carries a lesson. You have already been through enough to understand that no struggle is wasted. Every tear shed, every sleepless night, every battle fought has strengthened you. If you were to face today's troubles with the same fear you had in your youth, what then was the purpose of all your past trials? You must see that the difficulties of yesterday have prepared you for the burdens of today. There is great power in expectation. The one who expects life to be easy is always caught off guard, but the one who is prepared for hardship is never shaken. You must train your mind not to be disturbed by difficulty, not to be discouraged by pain. Expect trials, and they will not break you. Expect disappointments, and they will not wound you deeply. It is not pessimism, it is wisdom. A warrior does not enter battle hoping for peace. He enters knowing that struggle is inevitable. So, too, must you live, not fearing hardship, but meeting it with steady resolve. So now let nothing disturb you. You have been through the storm before, and you will pass through it again. Let hardship knock, let trouble rise, let disappointment come. You are no longer the person who trembles in fear. You are not caught unprepared, for life has trained you well. You have seen too much, endured too much, and overcome too much to be easily shaken now. So stand firm, meet adversity with a steady heart, and let your mind be a fortress that no trouble can breach. The greatest battles are not fought in the fields of war, nor in the struggles of daily life, but in the mind. A restless mind is a prison, keeping its captive bound in chains of fear, regret, and sorrow. Many suffer not because of what happens to them, but because of the thoughts they allow to take root within. A single anxious thought left unchecked can multiply into a forest of despair. A memory of failure, revisited too often, can drain the joy of today. But one who has learned to govern their thoughts has discovered the pathway to true peace. Negativity is a weed that grows quickly when left alone. It takes little effort for it to spread, choking out joy, strangling hope, and overshadowing gratitude. Those who do not control their minds will find themselves constantly troubled, for every difficulty will seem greater than it is, and every disappointment will feel like a crushing defeat. But a disciplined mind knows how to uproot these weeds before they take over. It does not allow bitterness to flourish, nor does it give space to despair. It watches over every thought, accepting only what nurtures peace and rejecting what leads to distress. Regret is another thief of peace. The past, unchangeable and distant, holds many moments that we wish we could undo. But to dwell on what cannot be altered is to fight a battle that has already ended. Many spend their old age revisiting every mistake, mourning every lost opportunity, and agonizing over what they should have done differently. But what does this accomplish? Will regret restore lost time? Will sorrow rewrite history? No. The wise understand that the past must be laid to rest. They take its lessons, but they do not live under its weight. Anxiety, too, is an enemy that must be conquered. Worry about tomorrow steals the peace of today. Many lie awake at night imagining all the ways things might go wrong, filling their minds with fears that may never come to pass. But what has worry ever changed? Has it ever prevented misfortune? Has it ever eased a burden? No, it has only added to it. The mind that is trained to reject unnecessary fears is a mind that rests easy, for it does not waste strength on battles that have not yet come. A disciplined mind brings a restful spirit. Those who master their thoughts are not easily shaken by circumstances. They do not allow the failures of the past to define them, nor do they let the uncertainties of the future rob them of joy. They understand that true peace does not come from a life without trouble, but from a mind that is not troubled by life. A restless mind creates a restless life, but a mind that is at peace finds tranquility even in the midst of difficulty. Training the mind is not an easy task. It requires constant effort, daily discipline, and a refusal to surrender to destructive thoughts. Just as a garden must be tended, so too must the mind be carefully cultivated. It is not enough to remove negativity once. It must be removed again and again, as often as it tries to return. It is not enough to reject anxiety one day. It must be rejected every day. But for those who commit to this work, the reward is great, for they will walk through life with an unshaken spirit and a heart that remains calm even in the storm. There are those who go through life as slaves to their thoughts. They believe they have no control, that their emotions must dictate their state of mind, but this is a lie. You have the power to decide which thoughts will rule you. You can choose to dwell on peace rather than chaos, on hope rather than despair, on gratitude rather than regret. You may not be able to control what happens around you, and it is within the mind that true peace is either won or lost. So train your mind daily. Do not let it wander into dark places. Do not let it be overcome by fear or sorrow. Watch over your thoughts as a guardian watches over a treasured possession. Uproot what does not serve you, and plant instead the seeds of peace, wisdom, and gratitude. For in doing so you will discover that the greatest peace is not found in the world. It is found in the mind that has been taught to rest. There is a moment in life when one must ask, what has complaining ever changed? In youth people murmur over every inconvenience, grumble at every difficulty, and voice their displeasure over matters great and small. But with time, wisdom dawns upon the soul, and one comes to see that no grievance ever altered a single event. The world remains indifferent to our complaints, and our circumstances do not shift merely because we express our dissatisfaction. It is then that a choice must be made, to continue lamenting what cannot be changed, or to rise above it with strength and resolve. Life does not grant us exemption from hardship simply because we protest. One may cry out against the trials of life, but the trials remain. One may voice endless discontent over pain, but pain does not vanish with words. The wise understand that time spent in complaint is time wasted. While others fill their days with grievances, the steadfast mind moves forward, unshaken and undistracted. To complain is to remain stagnant, but to accept and adapt is to grow. A person who trains their mind to endure finds solutions instead of sorrow, purpose instead of pity. Consider how often people sit in the company of those who do nothing but complain. They speak of the unfairness of life, of how fortune has not smiled upon them, of how their burdens are heavier than others. But what has their endless lamenting accomplished? Have their problems disappeared? Has their sorrow been lifted? No, rather their misery deepens, and their hearts grow heavier under the weight of their own words. Complaining only multiplies suffering, for it gives power to pain rather than rising above it. The steadfast mind understands that there is no virtue in grumbling. Strength is not found in recounting every hardship, nor is wisdom displayed in listing every sorrow. There is no reward for the one who moans about the harshness of life, for life is harsh to all. Instead of complaining, the wise set their hands to work. If change is possible, they labor for it. If change is beyond their reach, they endure with patience. They do not waste breath on fruitless words, but they strengthen themselves with thoughts of courage and perseverance. Some believe that if they voice their discontent enough, the world will take notice and show them mercy. But this is an illusion. The world does not pause to soothe those who complain. It marches on, indifferent to their cries. The wise do not waste their strength in demanding fairness where none is promised. They do not shake their fists at the sky, nor do they wail at fate. Instead, they accept life as it is, work with what they have, and find peace in what cannot be changed. There is a quiet dignity in those who endure without complaint. These are the ones who inspire others, not through loud protests, but through silent perseverance. Their hardships are not lighter than others, yet they walk with a calm spirit, undisturbed by what they cannot control. They do not burden others with their grievances, nor do they drown in self-pity. They understand that difficulties refine the soul, and that endurance brings far greater rewards than complaints ever could. A person who constantly complains eventually finds that no one listens. At first they may receive sympathy, but over time their words become noise. Those who dwell in constant dissatisfaction repel others, for few wish to be surrounded by endless negativity. On the other hand, those who bear their burdens with strength and grace earn respect. They do not demand attention for their suffering, and yet they are noticed. Their resilience speaks louder than words, and their quiet endurance carries a greater message than 1,000 complaints. This is not to say that one should never express sorrow. There is a time to grieve, a time to seek comfort, and a time to share one's struggles, but wisdom teaches that these moments must not define a person. It is one thing to acknowledge pain, and another to dwell in it forever. There is no honor in being a perpetual victim, nor is there strength in allowing hardships to rule one's spirit. A trained mind does not deny reality, but it refuses to be enslaved by it. To rise above difficulties does not mean ignoring them. It means facing them without surrendering to despair. It means acknowledging hardship but not being consumed by it. It means understanding that life will always have its burdens, but we are not required to carry them with bitterness. The choice is always before us, either to live in constant dissatisfaction or to master our minds and meet life with steadfastness. Complaints will never lighten the load, but a strong spirit will make the weight bearable. So let the weak complain, for it will do them no good. But let the wise rise above, meeting life as it comes, unmoved by what they cannot change. Train your mind not to waste breath on grievances, but to use every ounce of strength in overcoming. Let your heart be firm, your spirit unshaken, and your peace unbroken. For in the end, the one who masters his mind will find that he has mastered life itself. In youth, approval is a currency that seems essential to survival. The young seek validation in the eyes of others, longing to be admired, accepted, and praised. Every word of criticism wounds them deeply, and every compliment lifts them high. They shape their actions to fit the expectations of the world, fearing rejection as if it were a death sentence. But as the years pass, time reveals a great truth. Others' opinions are as fleeting as the wind, ever-changing, often shallow and rarely worth the weight we give them. What once seemed so important is now seen for what it is, mere noise. A mind that has been trained by experience no longer trembles before the judgment of others. It does not rise in pride at applause, nor does it sink in despair at criticism. In youth one might have changed their course because of the opinions of friends, family, or even strangers. But in old age, wisdom silences such concerns. Life has taught that people speak carelessly, that their words are shaped more by their own shortcomings than by any true understanding. Why then should a wise soul be troubled by what is spoken in ignorance? The opinions of others are unstable foundations. Today they praise, tomorrow they condemn. A man may be celebrated for his success one moment and mocked for his downfall the next. A woman may be admired in her beauty when she is young, only to be dismissed as she grows old. To live for the approval of others is to build a house upon the shifting sands, where peace is always at risk, and joy is easily stolen. But those who cease to care for such things build upon a firmer foundation, their own conviction and wisdom. Consider how many people waste their lives trying to please others, shaping themselves to fit the expectations of society. They labor to maintain a reputation, striving to be liked, respected, or envied. Yet even if they succeed, what have they truly gained? The approval of men is a fragile thing, easily lost, quickly forgotten. And when life nears its end, does it matter how many praised them? Does it bring comfort in their final days? No, for the applause of the world is silent in the grave. A trained mind understands that true peace is found not in the opinions of others, but in one's own certainty of right and wrong. It does not seek the permission of the world to exist as it chooses. It does not crave validation or fear disapproval. Instead, it moves forward with quiet confidence, unmoved by shallow judgments. This is the strength that comes with age, not the strength of muscle or ambition, but the strength of a mind that has been freed from the weight of others' expectations. There was a time when a harsh word from another could ruin an entire day. A single insult could stir up anger, and an unfair judgment could keep one awake at night. But now such things have lost their power. Why should the opinions of men trouble the heart, when they are often spoken without thought, without knowledge, without truth? A mind that has endured the trials of life learns that silence is the best answer to fools, and indifference is the greatest defense against shallow judgments. Many who criticize do so not out of wisdom, but out of their own insecurities. The one who mocks another often does so to hide their own failures. The one who spreads gossip does so to distract from their own flaws. The one who tears others down does so because they cannot build themselves up. Why, then, should a wise soul be troubled by such voices? It is not the words of others that define a person, but how they respond to them. There is a rare and beautiful freedom that comes with ceasing to care about what others think. It is the freedom to live as one chooses, to walk in truth without fear, to rest without anxiety. No longer bound by the chains of approval, a person can finally focus on what truly matters: their own growth, their own peace, and their own purpose. Those who continue to seek validation remain slaves to the opinions of others. But those who break free find a life of quiet strength and unshakable contentment. How many have been held back by fear of judgment? How many have silenced their own dreams because others disapproved? How many have wasted their days seeking to satisfy those who in the end will not even remember them? But the wise see beyond this illusion. They understand that the time spent worrying about opinions is time lost forever. They choose instead to walk their own path, unmoved by the fleeting judgments of those who have no true authority over their lives. If others praise, let them praise. If they condemn, let them condemn. A steadfast mind remains unchanged by both. The wise know that approval adds nothing to their worth, and disapproval takes nothing away. A lion does not lose sleep over the opinions of sheep, and a soul that has been tempered by experience does not waste energy on the shallow thoughts of others. Instead, it rests in the certainty of its own wisdom and the peace that comes with self-assurance. So let the world speak. Let it chatter, let it whisper, let it shout its judgments. It changes nothing. In the end, the only opinion that matters is the one you hold of yourself. Let it be a strong one. Let it be a peaceful one. Let it be a mind unshaken, a heart undisturbed, and a soul that knows its own worth, without needing the world to confirm it. This is the lesson that time teaches. You are no longer defined by others' opinions. You have lived too long, seen too much, and learned too well to be moved by the empty words of passing voices. Stand firm, walk boldly, and let your peace be the proof that you are free.